Hi, everybody. Welcome again to the Cultural Partners News Bulletin for Northern Europe. My name is Melissa, and I'm here with Simon this week. I work in Google Marketing Solutions for the Nordics market. And
yeah, I work in Google Marketing Solutions as well for the Danish market. So yeah, I am from Germany originally. Grew up in Germany, but studied in Denmark. I'm a Dane as well, so I'm kind of this mix up. So really happy to be here today. I did this once before with Jonas. So joining Melissa today, really happy about that.
Yeah, happy to have you with us. So let's get right into it. As you know from before, let's go through the trainings first. So we have a few partners trainings coming up. Quite many of them are actually full at the moment, like the older ones in Stockholm. So we have, in Sweden, we have, for example, video advertising analytics part 1 and part 2 coming up. In Finland, we have mobile advertising, video advertising, and analytics trainings coming up, and there might be still some room for the video advertising training in Helsinki. In Norway, then, we have video advertising, and there should be still some room as well. And then we have analytics part 1 and part 2 that are unfortunately full already. And then in Denmark, we have video advertising. There's also some room left still, and a few seats in analytics part 1 and part 2. So exactly, hurry up, sign up before it's too late. And then in the Benelux, we have in the Netherlands, we have in trainings coming up in Amsterdam. And so we have display advertising, search advertising, and video advertising coming up in mid-May. And there are still some seats available, so hurry up for those. And then we have video advertising and analytics coming up in Belgium. So there should be still some room left there. So hurry up to sign up for those. And as you know, probably already from before as well, always remember to sign up individually, even if you come in larger groups from one company, just so that we can make sure that we have all the snacks ready for you guys for the training time. So this week we have a pretty exciting topic, which is a smart display campaign.
Yeah, so that's a topic of today. It's really exciting, actually. It's our newest product. So the way we are doing it, first we're going to talk about what is a smart display campaign? That's kind of important to know, right? And then we are focusing more on we call it from theory to practice, and then we are actually going over to implementation of it. So just to cover all the steps. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's right into it. So what is a smart display campaign?
Yeah, so as mentioned, it's like the newest family member, our little baby of display advertising campaigns. Yeah. And what it is, it's basically a really simple and intelligent solution of managing display advertising. Yeah. It's as the name says, it's a smart display campaign, so it's based on machine learning, on AI. It's highly automated, or basically entirely automated in terms of ad creation, totally automated in terms of that, in terms of bid as well, and targeting. We're going to focus on that more in like the theory section. Yeah. And then it's basically designed to give you more conversions. So it's a rather performance-oriented display campaign.
And that is what we like to hear.
Yeah, money.
So when do you actually want to use a smart display campaign? So smart display campaign is a great way to get more reach for your campaign. So basically it's trying to fill in those gaps and trying to target also the campaign a tiny bit differently in order to get the largest audience for the campaign, which is fantastic. So it kind of removes those nitty-gritty settings that you need to adjust.
And that you can get wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it tries to just get the best possible reach for your campaign.
Yeah. Then in terms of conversions, it actually is able to look at your already existing campaigns that you have set up manually, and based on that, as Melissa mentioned, like fill in the gaps and build based on that. And then the last thing is really interesting because, well, I feel that display advertising sometimes can be like this kind of cryptic entity that is really like multi-layered, and there are so many things to get right, but also to get wrong, like the nitty-gritty details. So it's a really good starting point to get started with display advertising, because the automation takes so much workload off your shoulders and does so much for you, and hopefully better than anybody could do manually. Obviously, you could do that manually because you're really smart, but well, it's just really hard to calculate all these measures and signals in that our algorithm can. So yeah, it's a really good starting point in terms of display advertising.
Exactly. And so, exactly, we have 4 fantastic buzzwords, as you said. So simplicity, easy management, tracking, and automation. So exactly, what Smart Display Campaign is based on is automation and just simplicity. It tries to, setting up a campaign can take you only 3 to 5 minutes, basically, if you have all your creatives ready, basically. So that's a very, very simple thing to do.
Yeah, and then once it's set up, it's so easy to manage. There's basically not much to manage because the system does it for you. And the part that you can manage is like in a really friendly interface, really intuitive, nice to look at. Then we have the tracking portion. Like over time, you will get what we call the creative asset report, where you really get detailed information about what kind of assets and ads actually work and how they work. We will talk more about that later on. And then obviously like the big word here is automation. You get an automatic campaign that for one doesn't take away from existing manual campaigns. So if you are really convinced that your manual settings are spot on, this will not like tamper with that and show these ads instead. It fills the gaps and is like highly automated. So that's like what you gain.
Exactly. And so as the opposite is that what you actually leave behind when you take on a smart display campaign. And so all the manual bid strategies, basically when you start a smart display campaign, it is you just set up a budget and a CPA, and that's it. Then also you can leave behind these smaller settings when it comes to a delivery method and device, as already using machine learning, the campaign optimize itself. So for instance, if, for example, your website is not optimized for mobile, eventually like the campaign will learn as well that, okay, the conversions are not coming through that. So there's no point in showing those ads as much on mobile devices, for instance.
And it will get that really quickly. I had like advertisers asking me, well, my site is not mobile ready. I want to opt out. But the entire thing and the entire idea of this campaign is you don't have to opt out. It's going to do that for you really, really quickly.
Exactly. And so then also you don't have to do any targeting manually, which is really handy as well. And then you don't need to create manually your ads. So basically you just give the system some assets that you want the system to use, and then it mixes and matches all different versions of those ads.
And then in terms of the placement exclusions, so you don't need to do it because again, the system is doing that for you. But if you are convinced, well, we know we don't want our ads to be shown on that and that and that, then you obviously have the ability to exclude placements on account level. And like that's a workaround for that. If you are really convinced that, well, the system shouldn't even get like the chance to learn it by itself, and that makes sense in some instances. And then the last point is once you set up your smart display campaign, it is a smart display campaign, and you will not be able to like change it to a normal display campaign. It's like a setting for itself, because it's so far away actually from the foundational settings in terms of or compared to a normal, in quotes, display campaign.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's what you leave behind, but that's good to leave behind, I would say.
And so there's an exciting case study regarding Trivago.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, we can sit here and like be really excited about this campaign and tell you a lot of good things, but numbers speak for themselves. So Trivago, you should know the company. A big search engine or price comparison site for all travel related.
Yeah.
They actually set out to test this smart display campaign against their normal display campaigns to see what is working best. So the outcomes are the smart display campaign with a fairly easy setup, because the setup is actually the same for whether you're Trivago or some smaller company. It's like really basic, but the system came up with 25,000 tailored ads shown to people on really relevant sites like travel sites or travel blogs especially. That led to 36% more conversions generated by the smart display campaign compared to the original display campaigns. That's kind of impressive, I would say. And that led Trivago actually to roll it out to the entire EU, USA, and APAC. So they are going strong with that format right now.
Yeah, and you can read more about that on our AdWords blog as well.
Exactly.
So if you want to get more details about the whole case. And so how do we get one of these campaigns? And so let's move from theory to practice. So what you need for a smart display campaign is 3 components, basically. The most important thing is that you should have conversion tracking. And basically, if you're looking into your accounts now and trying to see if you can get the smart display campaign there, it might not be available for the account yet, if there is no conversion tracking set up. So there needs to be a certain amount of conversions before a smart display campaign can really work efficiently. So there is a minimum to it. Then you need just to set up the daily budget and CPA, and that's basically it. And we'll go a bit into detail on like what this CPA and how the CPA and the daily budget actually work. And then you just need the assets. So that means the headlines, descriptions, images, logos.
Yeah, and you have two ways of getting that. We will talk about that later on.
So more on the technical side of things, what is at the core of a smart display campaign, and the core is automation and learning. That's the 2 ways, like machine learning and automation, and those 2 combined together is really powerful. So we have these 3 pillars of automated stuff. We have the automation of bidding, the automation of targeting, and the automation of creatives. And this is designed basically to take workload off your shoulders, to give you free time, I would say. That's like the core concept, the 3 automation principles.
So if you go a bit like deeper into that, basically what you set up only is the budget and then the CPA. And so here, of course, the CPA most importantly determines the portion of the inventory that the campaign will be eligible for. So that is very important. And so more specifically, if you've had a CPA bidding strategy already on a search campaign, we would recommend approximately plus 50% higher CPA target for in a smart display campaign, just to get it rolling correctly. And if you had a remarketing campaign already that has been on a CPA, then that would be plus 20% that you should have add to the CPA in our smart display campaign. And then if you already use a non-remarketing campaign with a CPA, you can actually use the same one as well if you want to. But that's basically to the more technical and detail.
Did we cover the budget?
So for the budgets.
Yeah, exactly. So the best practices, just to give you a number you can like relate to, is 10 to 15 times your CPA in the account you see right now. So, and that's just to make sure the campaign has enough room to learn, because it's all about learning. It will adapt and like figure out a way to get down to that CPA and even go under it. So that's the idea, to give it enough room. So if you set your CPA or your budget to 5 times the CPA, that will not, or most likely not, give the campaign enough room to actually learn.
Yeah, because it doesn't have then access to the inventory that it actually could even learn from. So otherwise it will give maybe a bit twisted results.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then more into the targeting of smart display campaigns. So what is the biggest difference probably to the standard display campaign is exactly that you don't have to do the targeting yourself at all. So this is a very complicated graph. I'm sorry about that. But basically the idea is that smart display campaign combines contextual and audience targeting. So basically, instead of having those different ad groups with different targeting methods, it uses all the different targeting methods at the same time. So that means, for example, remarketing, similar audiences, and all the contextual, keyword contextual topics, etc. So it uses all of that and tries to optimize where the ads are actually showing. And this is the greatest part of it, because you don't have to go in and see what is the targeting method that works for me and my campaign and my business. You can actually just give it a go. You will see then how it performs.
Absolutely, because
it will fill in the gaps itself.
Exactly, and I always feel that this is the most tricky part in any display, and because you have so much to choose from. Are you going with keywords? Are you going with similar audiences? Should it be an in-market that is more like based on monetary value, or topics placements? It's like so much to choose from. Where are you going? And this basically just makes the decision for you in a smarter way, hopefully.
Exactly. And so then the creatives are also automated. So there are two options. You can either upload your assets and logos, or then you can even just click a button, scan the website, and just pull assets straight from the website. And of course, we would prefer you to use your own assets and logos and headlines. Just make sure that they all fit in well together. When you add your own ones, you can make sure that the quality of them is always on point.
Yeah, exactly, and if you think about it, that's basically the only manual labor you have to do in setting it up. It's like finding good images, writing some headlines,
some descriptions, and well, the logo is taken care of. So I would recommend, or we would recommend, like doing that extra part just to get the most out of it, out of the campaign overall.
Yeah. And so how do you actually do it? And this is how it looks like on AdWords. So basically, when you click the buy on your website, basically meaning that you are focused on conversions, you will get the option to select Smart Display Campaign. You will get a brief description of it, and you can just tick a box. And
and then you are on your way. Then you are already in the ad creation menu, and there you can see it looks different than your average like AdWords interface, I would say. So here you basically just enter your headlines, your descriptions. You can see you have two buttons at the top where you can choose to upload your assets or to scan your website. Well, you should upload your assets, but obviously you can scan the website. That's fine as well. And basically that's the only thing you have to do, and then you are good to go, as long as you have set your budget and your CPA.
And basically, this is then how it will look like afterwards. So you'll get a reporting of all the different creatives that you are using. And on the base of that, you can change, for example, the creatives. Some of them that are not working, you can replace them with other ones. You can add new ones, etc. And you can just focus more on what you want to actually deliver to the customer. What is the message that you want to give to them? And you can forget about those smaller settings.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
So that's it. That was a Smart Display Campaign. Thank you so much for joining in for this news bulletin.
Next time it will be with Jonas again, right?
Jonas should be back the next time.
So you don't have to stick around with that. But we are really excited about the Smart Display Campaign. So if you have any questions, just reach out to your Google point of contact, and we will be happy to help you out.
Exactly.
And I think that's that for today, right?
Exactly. I'll see you then in 2 weeks again.
Cool.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.